Well, it is Tuesday, and I am back in the office. Have some clients coming in today to discuss their case, but I want to talk a little about the blog articles that we came out recently regarding grand juries in New Jersey. And in that blog article, I detail the fact that New Jersey is one of 23 states that employs exclusively the grand jury system. I know that there's been a lot of talk about grand juries in recent months and weeks with regards to Deshaun Watson. And I know the sports media, for the most part, has simply glossed over the fact that two grand juries have failed to indict Deshaun Watson. And despite that, they believe that these cases are so strong and that Deshaun Watson should just come out and just admit to it. And they're talking about the fact that he should go to counseling. But when you look at a grand jury, and if they knew what a grand jury actually was, they would understand that the fact that two grand juries did not indict him, two separate groups of individuals chosen separately, going through the process of what is known as voir dire, where a judge has the ability to question them regarding their impartiality. And those two groups of people in Texas elected not to indict Deshaun Watson. And it's important to understand that unlike a criminal jury, a trial where the vote has to be unanimous, that you don't have that in a grand jury. It's a preponderance standard. You need pretty much the majority of grand jurors to agree. So, for instance, in New Jersey, you need at least 12 to agree. And a grand jury is typically composed of 23 people chosen throughout the county. So with that said, you have to understand the fact that two grand juries did not indict this man. It leads us to believe, we have to believe, that the cases had serious issues. These were 23 cases put before a grand jury, and they did not indict him on any of them. Now, the former federal judge, in her opinion, found that these allegations were truthful, but let's keep in mind the fact that she is an employee of the NFL. She may be independent, but she is receiving a salary, and she's receiving a salary more than likely a salary that she wants to keep, and probably a very lucrative salary, given the fact that the NFL is a billion dollar industry, and coaches are paid $5 to $10 million a year. Owners are obviously billionaires, and Roger Goodell himself makes $60 million a year. He's not a lawyer, by the way. He's the only commissioner who is not an attorney. I think that says a lot about the process. I think that's absolutely wrong. I think that any commissioner of any league should absolutely be a lawyer. It's a position that requires a person to have a firm understanding of the legal process, of regulations, and he simply doesn't have that. So with that said, it's important to understand that to have an indictment, it really doesn't take a lot. And in that article, I just lay that out. And I also lay out the fact that Pennsylvania doesn't have that system. Pennsylvania has a preliminary hearing system. And I maybe believe that perhaps Deshaun Watson's case may have turned out differently if he had to go into the preliminary hearing process. And I'm not saying that the allegations are truthful. Unlike the sports media, I believe a person has a presumption of innocence until they're proven guilty, or until they admit to that guilt under no coercion. They are innocent. And the fact that allegations are made isn't proof of anything. That's one of the most powerful jury instructions that you receive. If the members of the sports media have ever sat on a jury, they would understand that. But most of them are just getting their knowledge based off of what they read from their colleagues, probably who aren't lawyers. And the ones who are attorneys, if you look at their background, it tends to be a civil background, or they earned a law degree, they never practiced, and they just like to say that they're lawyers, but never actually were in a courtroom, never actually represented their clients. And that isn't the same thing. That's like a doctor who goes to medical school, learns terminology, but never actually touches a patient. I wouldn't have much faith in that doctor, regardless of their education, because they simply haven't done it. So I encourage you to read that article. It's an important article. I also put in that article motions to dismiss indictments, what those look like, and those can often be an important tool. Deshaun Watson did not have to worry about that because he was never indicted. In addition to that article, I also talk about the crimes of simple assault and aggravated assault in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I lay out the elements of those offenses. That's another important article that I ask you to take a look at. If you are charged with something like that in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, you do have a possible defense of self-defense, but that defense requires that your criminal defense attorney put that forward in court. It's not assumed. You have to actually assert it. So if you have questions, 215-755-9000 in Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Website, gambonelaw.com. As always, a tremendous resource for you and your family. All my books, my blogs, my videos are available there in one convenient format. In addition, we come out with a weekly e-update each and every Friday, which goes out to over 4,000 of our current and former clients in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. It brings together all of our latest content, all of our most popular articles. It's a great resource to have. So once again, 215-755-9000 Pennsylvania, 856-793-7429 in New Jersey. Remember, get your legal advice, get your law advice from a lawyer, not the sports media, not a sports analyst. Let them stick to sports and I'll stick to the law. But have a great day, and I'll talk to you all very soon.